Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. So today we are going to start basic probability or probability theory. So I will not go into the details of things, but whatever is required, I think that I will tell here. So directly going into this, what is probability? So probability is actually numerical measure of uncertainty. We know that there are certain things, there are uncertain things. For example, if you see these three examples, when a coin is tossed, it must fall down. So this is very certain. It is impossible to live without oxygen. It is certain. Okay. But chances of my winning the match, I cannot say. Okay. So there is uncertainty involved here. So what probability is? Probability is actually the numerical measure of uncertainty. Okay, so that we should know at least. And then these things, if you want, you can read later on. These definitions, I think we should know. They are very means keywords in probability theory. Random experiment. So random again, outcomes cannot be predicted. Okay, so experiment whose outcome cannot be predicted is with certainty, of course. So an experiment whose outcomes cannot be predicted with certainty. So cannot. So that is random. If you can, then it is not random. So the very basic examples are tossing a coin or throwing a dice. Okay. So in these examples, you know that if you toss a coin, you are not sure whether to get a head or tail. Okay. Similarly, if you throw a dice, we are not sure whether to get 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 like this. Okay. So sample space. Okay. So this is a set of all possible outcomes of a random experiment. Right. For example, in case of coin, there are two possibilities only, either head or tail. So this sample space will contain only two elements. Similarly, in case of throwing a die, okay, possibly there are 6 possibilities. If you throw 2 coins, there are 4 possibilities, but like that. The sample space, we have 2 types, discrete and continuous. So discrete means when the set S is finite or countable. Well, finite is of course countable. So in general, we can say that a sample space is discrete if it is countable in finite set or countable finite set. Okay, so mostly we deal with a finite set actually. So this sometimes we get countable in finite set. And continuous case, instead of this finite set, it will be an interval. Okay, this. So a sample space is continuous if it contains an interval. So that's all. Events. So events are actually elements of sample space. So for example, in case of dice, coin, we have 2 elements, H and T. So this H can be H, getting head is an event, getting tail is an event, like that. So these are events, means elements of sample space. So an event is a subset, or rather not element, subset. So subset means you can see that then you'll get 4 subsets here. For example, in case of this, so sorry. So we will get empty set, then S3, and finally S itself. Okay, so these are 4 subsets of S which are called events. Similarly, here you can find. So event is what? It is subset of sample space. And then because sample space is a set, event is a set actually. Subset of set means a set. And therefore all the properties of set theories are applied here. Okay, so we can talk about union of 2 events. We can talk about intersection of 2 events. We can talk about complement of an event. Okay, which is either denoted by E days or sometimes EC. So E is an event and its complement is denoted by E days. Some books you may find E days notation. In some case, you may find EC. Equally likely events. So 2 or more events are said to be equally likely if the chances of their happening in a trial is equal. Okay. So chances of their happening. For example, we know that if we throw a coin, chances of getting head or tail are equal. And therefore, these 2 events, that is getting head or getting tail, are equally likely events. Similarly, in case of dice, we have either 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. All they have equal chances of occurring. So these events are equally likely events. And then there is mutually exclusive events. So these words are very common in probability. Mutually exclusive. So this set theoretically we can define it like that. So 2 events, E1 and E2, are said to be mutually exclusive if E1 intersection E2 is equal to high. For example, if E is or E1 is event of getting head and E2 is event of getting tail, okay, then you can see that E1 and E2 are mutually exclusive events because there is no common element here. But for example, if you take E1 is equal to H and E2 is equal to HT, then these are not mutually exclusive. Okay. So this E2 HT means either H or T. This is the meaning is okay. So Venn diagram, you can see that S sample is space and then this is the event A, this is event B, intersection is empty, so mutually exclusive. And then comes exhaustive. So S is sample space and we have events E1, E2, EK. They are called exhaustive if their union is equal to S, right? So similarly, for example, in case of dice, if you take E1 is equal to 1, 3, 6, say, and E2 is equal to say 2, and if you take E3 is equal to what remains 4 and 5, then you can see that E1, E2, E3 are exhaustive events because their union is equal to S. So this measuring probability, I'm not going into the details. In fact, there are different way of defining probability. For example, this is the mathematical probability and then some statistical probability, okay? And then some axiomatic approach to probability. So this is what we are going to see. So that is, assume that the probability value is between 0 and 1. Okay. And PS is equal to 1. So these are all axioms. Okay. It is our assumption that PA always lies between 0 and 1. PS is equal to 1. This is sure, either getting either head or tail, because in case of coin, S contains only two elements, H and T. Okay. So either head or tail is definitely sure. We are definitely going to get either head or tail if it is unbiased coin. Okay. And therefore probability, we assume it 1. And with the help of this, there is another property we assume, that is this AI are events. Okay. A1, A2, they are events. So if you take the union of this, then this union, probability of this union is equal to summation of probability of all AI. Okay. So in short, if you want to take, for example, 3, then what it says, A1 union A2 union A3. The probability value of this is equal to PA1 plus PA2 plus PA3. This is the meaning actually. So this is a generalization of this concept. So these three properties, we start with PA lies between 0 and 1, PS is equal to 1, and this property, additive property. So important laws on probability. So this we know. Now, for example, if A is an event, okay, if this is your S, and suppose this is event A here, subset, so naturally this will be A dash outside. And we know that A union A dash is equal to S. So this implies PA union A dash is equal to PS is equal to 1, and from A union A dash, from the third property, it is equal to PA plus PA dash, and therefore we get this result. Okay, PA dash is equal to 1 minus P. P phi is equal to 0 for any sample spaces. So phi is the null event. There is no event in fact. And then if A and B are events in a sample space such that A is subset of B, so naturally PA is less than or equal to PD. Okay. And this last, in fact, it is axiom. Okay. So these are some basic properties of probability. And then comes a additive rule, addition rule of probability. So addition is like this, if you have sample space and then you have say two events A and B like this. So what this result says, PA union B is equal to PA plus PB minus PAU, sorry, this is A intersection B. Okay, so we are not going to prove it, but we should know this. Okay, and therefore, from this result, you can see that if A and B are mutually exclusive, okay, now mutually exclusive means A intersection B is phi. So there is no intersection, then this probability will be 0, and we will get PA union B is equal to PA plus PB only. So this is in a special case when A and B are mutually exclusive events. Okay. So all the things are given here. Now, for example, in case of 3 events, we can generalize that result. or three events A, B, and C. So again, it is sum is, this is some part. Then if you take two at a time, then they are all negative. And finally, again plus and the intersection of all the three events. So in this way, we can generalize this. If you want to take here, say P A1 union A2 union AK. Okay, so first is single events. So all singles you take, so this will be summation I is equal to 1 to k. Okay, then comes minus, and in this case it will be taken two at a time, that is AI intersection AJ I not equal to j. Okay, and then comes plus, and here you'll see that it will be AI intersection AJ intersection AK, sorry. Okay, like this. So it goes like this. Okay, so let us not go into the details. So these we know that tossing single coin sample space is this set. If you toss two coins, then this is the sample space. Single die, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then rolling two dice. So we know that there are 36 possibilities. Okay, so these are all 36 possibilities. Sorry. Okay, so these are all 36 possibilities. If you roll two dice, sample space for choosing one card. So you know that there are 52 cards. So choosing one card, there are 52 ways. Okay, and then two cards. So these examples are given here. Consider the following probability values for the number of defective chips in a box of 500 chips. So 0 defective, 1 defective, 2 defective, 3 defective, 4, 5 defective. And suppose that the probabilities of the additional elements of the sample space 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 up to 500 are unknown. Okay, so the company is thinking of claiming that each box has no more than 5 defective chips. So calculate the probability that claim is correct. So what is the claim of the company? Company is thinking of claiming that each box has no more than 5 defective. Okay, it means that number of defective chips is less than or equal to 5. Okay, so it may be 0, it may be 1 defective, it may be 2 defective, it may be 3 defective, 4 defective, 5 defective. Okay, so if you take the events of 0 defective A1, event of 1 defective A2, 2 defective A3, okay, and therefore what does it means? We want to find the probability of A1 either A2 or A3 or A4 or A5 or A6. So if you rather notation A0 to A5, okay, so these are all union. So we want this probability here, okay, and that is by definition of by law of probability. You just add this 0 to 5, all this, okay. So this 0 to 5, the claim is correct. It will be sum of all the probabilities. Now, similarly, other examples are given here. I think These are simple examples. Sir Kadir sir, should I explain this or leave it?
Which one, sir?
Should I explain these examples or leave it? Leave them.
Your wish, sir. You can take one or more two interesting example. I think it is very useful actually.
Okay.
One or two interesting you can take up. Rest student can look into this themselves.
Okay. So let us see this. Suppose the manufacturer's specification for the length of a certain type of computer cable are 2000 plus minus 10 millimeters. Okay. Manufacturer's specification for the length of a certain type of computer cable. Now, suppose that the probability of randomly producing a cable with length exceeding 2010 millimeter is equal to the probability of producing a cable with length is smaller than 1990 millimeters. So what it says, suppose that the probability of randomly producing a cable with length, so either plus 10 or minus 10 from 2000. Okay, so this is 2000 plus minus 10, so plus is 2010 and the minus is 1990. Okay, so outside this range actually it says, suppose that the randomly producing a cable with length exceeding, so outside and is smaller than, again outside this range, given range. Okay, the probability that the production procedure meets specification is known to be 0.99. So the probability that the production procedure meets specifications is known to be 0.99. Clear? Now, so what we have to do? What is the probability that a cable selected randomly is too large? Okay. Now, too large means exceeding 2010. Right? And what is the probability that a randomly selected cable is larger than 1990 millimeters? It is larger than 1990 millimeters. Okay, so these are two things. All right. So what is given to us? This is probability that the production procedure meets specification. So M means meets the specification here. S is small and L is large. Both are equal. Okay. And this comes from the definition of probability axiom. Okay, that PS union L is equal to PS plus PL. Right? So what is the probability that a cable selected randomly is too large? Okay, so randomly too large, this is okay. So here PS is equal to PL will be okay. So you can apply this and this actually. PS is equal to PL, so this is 2, you can say 2 PS or 2 PL. Okay, and this probability is equal to 1. PS is equal to meeting specification. Okay, so either S or L. Okay, So let us assume that I will see it. So X with the length randomly selected cable, then we have this. So if lies between 1990 and 20, it is specification is 0.99, no problem. And then X greater than or equal to 2010. So PL, and PL will be this. All right. And then another is B is actually this probability we want, greater than or equal to 1990. So you can break this into two parts, one from 1990 to 2010, and the another one is greater than 2010. So both this probability we are having actually. This is meeting the specification, this probability is PM, and this is PL. Okay, and therefore this probability comes. Here, this, so only problem I am getting here is this part actually. So this PS plus PL is equal to 2PS, right? Okay. Okay, no problem. And P S union L, so either S or L. Okay, so this meaning either S or L, but meeting the specification is 0.99. So either S or L is in fact a complement of this event. Okay. For example, if this is your M, okay, so this is complement and this is complement. So either small or large, both are complement. So S union L means either small or large is complement of this thing. Okay, and the probability here is 0.99, and therefore complement will be a complement probability will be 1 minus point. So, and therefore this numerator comes 1.99 and 1 minus 0.99, and then because it is 2 PS, 2 will come in denominator. So this probability we get, and I think
Sir, Patel sir, if you allow, can I try explaining in more simpler words if you allow me?
Yeah.
See, what I see is that the probability of meeting the specification is 0.99.
Yes.
So probability of not meeting the probability of not meeting the specification is 0.01, right?
Yeah.
So it is either side of both, either below or above. So both it will be divided by half. So it will be 0.05, 0.05. Correct only, no? 0.005 and 0.005.
Yeah. Same thing, I think.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
This 1 minus 0.9 means not meeting the specification.
Yeah, right, sir.
0.01 means not, this is 0.01 actually.
Yeah, 0.01 divided by 2. Because it is both the sides.
Both the sides. Both the sides. Is it PS or PL? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay. So, and then I think you can, if you want, you can see this also. The probability that a visit to a particular car dealer results in neither buying a second-hand car nor a Japanese car is 55%. Okay. So neither buying a second-hand car nor a Japanese car is 55%. Of those coming to the dealer, 25% buy a second-hand car, and 38, I'm not sure this 30% of probability, it should be 30%. And 30% the probability that a visit leads to buying a second-hand Japanese car. So what you have to do then?
Correct only, no, sir. See, 25% will buy a second-hand car and 30% will buy Japanese second-hand car. And above whatever comes in 55, that is new Japanese car. Right? Am I correct?
of those coming to the dealer, 25% buying a second-hand car, and 30% probably. No, something is missing, I think, here in this. So find the probability that a visit leads to buying a second-hand Japanese car. So 25% buy a second-hand car, and here 30% maybe the Japanese car. Okay, because this is what car dealer results in neither buying a second-hand car nor a Japanese car is 55%.
Sorry, sir, I was wrong.
Neither nor.
Can't see the solution, sir.
Yes, from the solution we can correct the exam question. Okay. So what it says, A be the event that a second-hand car is bought. Okay. Okay. And B be the event that a Japanese car. So this 30% may be Japanese. Okay. So these are two events we have assumed. The desired probability is P intersection B. So what it says, what probability we want, visit leads to buying a second-hand Japanese car naturally. So A intersection B means second-hand as well as Japanese. So PA intersection B. All right. Now denoting by EC the complement of an event, it follows that. Okay. So there is very good application of that addition law. So we want PA intersection B. So this is PA plus PB minus this. And then this PA union B, okay, can be written as this one. This is like this. Probability of EC is equal to 1 minus probability of E. So this we have applied here. So this is the other way also. Okay. What other way means? P of E is equal to 1 minus P of EC. Okay. So in fact, we have applied this. So PE. So PA union B will be 1 minus this complement. And by De Morgan's law, okay, A union B complement, you might have heard it in set theory. This is A complement intersection B complement. This is De Morgan's law. That is A union B complement is equal to A complement intersection B complement. So this we have applied, and then so PA what is? A be the event that second-hand car. So this is 25%. B is 30%. Okay, so this is 25, 30, and 1 minus this A complement intersection B complement is 55. Neither nor. Okay, so in fact all the probabilities are given. So this you can see that this is 25% buy a second car, whatever whoever visit the dealer of them, 25% buy a second-hand car and 30% buy Japanese car. Okay. So there are some exercises here that you can see. After this, we have conditional probability. Okay. So, okay. So conditional probability is what? So suppose that we have this. So suppose we have a random experiment. Okay. In this experiment, we want to find a probability of, say, event A. All right. But later on, if you impose some condition that we have to find the probability of event A under certain condition, okay, then that probability of getting A will be conditional probability. So this is, suppose this is the condition that we impose here. Okay, A is the event. So A is the event and B is some condition. In fact, this condition will also will be treated as event. Okay. So what is our problem here? Our problem is to find the probability of A subject to B. Okay. And then this is here in statistics. In most of the book, you will see this notation. P A/B. It means that probability of success of A when B has already happened. Yes, subject to the condition B. So probability of happening of A when B has already happened. So this condition is already imposed, and then find the probability of A. So for this, you can see this. Suppose this is our sample space. Okay. Now, suppose this is the condition imposed. All right. And then we have event A. So we want to find the probability A/B. So as soon as we impose this condition B on the experiment, then what we do, we reduce the sample space. Okay. Initially, our sample space was this rectangle, but as soon as we impose the condition that this condition must satisfy, and therefore our sample space will now be this area only. Which area? So this is our new sample space, you can see. So B is the new sample space. And so this event A is there, A intersection B is here. So generally not, in fact it is rule. Rule is what? Probability of happening of an event is actually number of cases favorable to A divided by number in sample space. Okay, this is the rule. And therefore, in this case, what is happening? Now, initially the sample space was S, but due to the imposure condition B, our sample space is now B. So number of elements in SS will be number of elements in B. And the number of cases favorable is actually, you can see that geometrically, this intersection is the number of case which favors. Okay, so this will be A intersection B in the numerator. So this you can see here. This is the case actually. So this B is now our sample space, and this is favorable cases. Okay, so A intersection B, number of elements in A intersection B, and number of elements in B, that is conditional probability of A given B, PA given B. So this we get. But then what we do, we divide numerator and denominator by this ns. Okay. So this n A intersection B upon ns is actually probability of A intersection B. And in denominator, NB upon ns is probability of happening of B. Okay. And therefore, PA/B comes out to be PA intersection B upon PB, provided this PB is not equal to 0. So this is a formal definition of conditional probability. So PA/B is equal to PA intersection B upon PB, provided PB is greater than 0. Similarly, we can define PB/A also. So it will be PA intersection B upon PA, provided PA is greater than 0. So from this definition, we get the multiplication rule. Okay. So this PA intersection B, which is numerator, is equal to PB PA/B when PB is not equal to 0. And similarly, it is equal to PA PB/A if PA is not equal to 0. Okay. And if both these are not equal to 0, then both these equations satisfied. So this is just the application, or from this result we have got these two things, or two expression for PA intersection B. So this is our multiplication rule of probability. Now, independent events. So independent events means if the happening of one does not affect the happening of the other. Okay. Independent event means happening of one does not affect the happening of other. Okay. So you just apply this thing here. If the happening of B does not affect the happening of A, so A and B will be independent. Okay. And therefore, this probability, which probability? This probability. PA/B. This is what? Probability of happening of A when B has already happened. And independent events says happening of B does not affect the happening of A, and therefore this probability will be equal to PA. Okay. Similarly, here B/A, if A and B are independent, PB/A will be equal to PB. Okay, because they are independent. So in case of independent, we get this PA intersection B is equal to PA/PB. So this is a important condition. Whenever we want to check whether A and B are independent or not, you just find the probabilities of PA, PB, and PA intersection B and see whether left side is equal to right side or not. So we can generalize this concept. This condition is for two events A and B. we can generalize it for, this is in fact definition of independent for 2. Then we can generalize this for 3. So what it says for 2, PA/B will be PA, PB/A will be PB, and PA intersection B will be PA/PB. Okay. So if there are 3 events, then these 3 events will be independent if one of the condition is this, that PA intersection B intersection C must be equal to PA, PB, PC. And then you take 2 at a time. So there are 3 combinations, AB, BC, and AC. So there also this independentness must be satisfied. Okay. So if all these A, B, C, D are satisfied, we say that 3 events A, B, and C are independent. And further we can generalize this for N events or K events. Okay.
Sir, is this the only way we find out the independent events, or there is any other way also to find independent events? Just curious, sir. So I think this is one understood, but any other way is there to find independent events?
That I have to see. I have not seen any other thing actually.
Okay, sir. Okay, no problem.
I will search more. But,
Right, sir. Right.
So next time I will.
Sure, sir. Sure. Because this individual independent samples are very important in data science. Everywhere you refer them actually. All machine learning algorithm almost refer them.
Okay. So we'll see it. Okay.
In fact, conditional probability, the only way is to like deal with Bayes theorem. Bayes theorem एक होता है.
Yeah, Naive-Bayes theorem.
Yeah.
So that's the formula for dealing with this conditional probability.
So tomorrow we will see that next time means the day after tomorrow we will see that total probability and Bayes theorem. So I think let us see some 1 or 2 example, and then we can close today's lecture.
Sure, sir.
So what it says, first example, a manufacturer of airplane parts knows from past experience that the probability is 0.80 that an order will be ready for shipment on time, and it is 0.32 that an order will be ready for shipment on time and will also be delivered on time. So there are 2 conditions, 2 things actually. One is this 0.80. 0.80 is what? It's a ready for shipment on time. Then another probability given here is 0.72, and what this? Ready for shipment on time and will also be delivered on time. 2 things combined. Okay. So what is the probability that such an order will be delivered on time given that it was ready for shipment on time? So this is the condition actually here. Given that it was ready for shipment on time. So this is your condition. With respect to this condition, you have to find the probability that order will be delivered on time. Probability that such an order will be delivered on time. Okay, so this part is actually our condition. Maybe we can denote it by B, and we want order will be delivered. So we can take A. Here it is actually R stands for ready for, and D means delivery on time. So R stands for event that an order is ready for shipment, and D is be the event that delivered on time. Okay. So R is 10 for ready for shipment. So this is given us. Okay. We have what is that it was ready for shipment on time, and therefore what we have to obtain? We have to obtain this. Okay. This is our objective. Probability that delivery on time given that ready on time. All right. So all the probabilities are given here. You can see that R&D, ready and delivery 0.72 and ready 0.80. And what about PDR? So PDR, if you see, is equal to P D intersection R upon PR. Okay. So you can see that D intersection R or R intersection D is, so this numerator is 0.72, denominator is 0.80. That's all. This one. Second example, you can take randomly pick 2 television sets in succession from a shipment of 240 television sets, of which 15 are defective. What is the probability that they will both be defective? What is the probability that both will be defective? So one by one we are succession, no? From a shipment. So you can see that A be the event of first picked television and B is the event of second television picked. Okay. And we want both to be defective, and therefore we want probability PA intersection B. All right. So PA intersection B. This is our objective. So this will be equal to, it will say P A intersection B into PB. Okay, from the conditional probability. So this PB is a denominator actually. So when it goes to left hand side, it is in product form. So PB or P intersection B. Or if you want, you can write it like this also. PA or okay, let it. So we can write this as like this: PA and P B/A. Okay, this is also same thing. PA P B/A. So PA, probability of selecting the first TV set. So there are 240 televisions. We are selecting one, so 1 by 240. Okay. Now we have chosen this, or we have selected one TV set. So number of television set will now be 239. Okay. So 239 remains, and out of this 239, we are selecting one. So P B/A will be 1 by 239. And therefore the probability will be 1 by 240 into 239. Oh, sorry. sorry. This is a defective, no? We want A should be defective. So defective means 15 are defective. So in the first case, it will be 15 by 240. So out of 15, favorable case is 1, and 240 favorable means choosing one television set from 240 is 240 C1, that is 240. So sorry, this A probability will be 15 by 240, and B when one defective television set is chosen, so number of defective television set remains is 14, and one also come difference here, or a minus here rather. Okay, so probability of B slash A will be equal to 14 by 239. So this is actually the required probability, and therefore you just take the product of these two, PA, PB slash A, to get the PE intersection. This is 14, 239, 15, 240, and so this. Okay, so shall we stop now?